All right, so today is day 2, right? August the 13th. We're about to get started with our content, about to jump in and get going. All right, so the first thing that you notice is there's 2 screens, right? You see me talking, and then right here you see my notebook. Notice this is the thick notebook, and this demonstration is for the people that are doing a physical notebook. Remember, there's 2 options for you since it's virtual. You can do it this way, which I'm doing right now, or you can use PowerPoint to actually do a similar setup. All right, so the very first thing we need is, I usually use different color pencils. So I got these gel pens right here to help me. Got a different color, got red, blue, purple, and another color, right? Teal, black, doesn't matter, right? So that's just my personal preference. I like to keep things relatively organized when I do my notebook. All right, so the very first thing we're gonna do setting up our notebook is you're gonna open your notebook up. Okay, so mine has a couple of these pages we don't need, these green pages, but as soon as you get to the first page of your actual lines, right, you need to skip 2 pages. These first 2 pages are gonna be for our table of contents. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna flip 1 and I'm gonna flip 2. Right, so on my 3rd page, this is where I'm actually going to start our content for today, and it's the very first thing we're going to talk about, which is scarcity. Right, so let me get myself situated here. All right, so that's my 3rd page, remember? So the very first thing that we need to do, if you look on eClass for day 2, I went ahead and posted pictures, images. So these are the images that you can print out. Now, like I said, these are for the people that are doing the physical notebook. You can do something similar using PowerPoint. So your images look like this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out the pictures. Now notice I got them set up to where AKS 17A, that's the very first thing we talk about, scarcity. This picture goes with scarcity. 17B, productive resources. This picture goes with productive resources. 17C, this goes with entrepreneurs and reasons that they are motivated to take risks. And the last picture on here is 17D, which goes with opportunity cost. So they're already in order. You just have to keep them in order. So when you cut them out, all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut them out and I'm going to space them on my notebook and give myself room to write. So I'm going to go ahead and do this so you can see what it looks like. So I'm going to stop, take the time to do this, and then you'll see the finished product once I cut them out and I have them in my notebook. All right, so I'm back again. I just finished cutting out my pictures and putting them in my notebook. Once again, all I did was, remember, this was full with pictures. I cut the pictures out and I put it with the appropriate AKS. Now I'm going to show you what my notebook looks like. So remember, kind of going back to what we just talked about, the first 2 pages, remember, of your notebook, you need to leave those blank. Those are for your table of contents. So 1, 2, and then on the 3rd page, that's where we're starting today. So right here, I just put the picture in here, AKS 17A, scarcity. It looks a little neat. You know, I use my color pencils or my gel pens and got busy with this, but that's what the first page looks like. Notice I left space right here so I can write my notes that deal with scarcity. And that's the first thing we're going to talk about today. But let's go through and see what the other pictures look like. So after scarcity, second picture I put in here was productive resources, right? So notice up here I got AKS 17B, productive resources. Productive resources are also known as the factors of production. They mean the same exact thing, just like Coke versus Coca-Cola, same exact thing. It's just a different way of saying it, and that's one of the challenging parts of econ. You'll find that throughout the course, there's a lot of words that mean exactly the same thing as something else, the terminology. So once you get that down, it's no biggie. You'll be fine. The next picture, On the next page, this time I put the picture at the bottom. I don't know why I put it at the bottom. I just felt like doing it, putting it at the bottom. That's one of the good things about the interactive notebook. You got free range to just be creative, do what you want to do, put the pictures in. You can draw a picture if you want to. If you don't want to use the pictures, you can draw symbols. That's why I said some people might be limited and not have a printer. You can draw symbols that go with the actual concept. I felt like putting it at the bottom, so I put it at the bottom. So AKS 17C, why entrepreneurs take risks. And then notice I have space so I can take notes in relation to that concept. And the last picture is opportunity cost, right? So I got, of course, the AKS 17D. I put my picture here, and then I got opportunity cost. I left space so I can write my notes based on what we are talking about. So just be creative when you make your notebook. My classes in previous years, when we met face to face, it was a competition. It was kind of competitive. I used to always mess with them about notebooks. We had a notebook contest to see if somebody can make a better looking notebook than me, right? So with that being said, that's how you set up your notebook. All right, so now that we have our notebook set up, what we're going to go ahead and do is I'm going to pick a color, any color. I don't know, I feel like you being regular right now, so I'm going to use black. We're going to start with AKS 17A. That's the beginning of the course. So AKS 17A, we need to know a few things about scarcity, right? So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to look at the AKS. The AKS says define scarcity. So stop right there. Define scarcity. So we're talking about a definition for scarcity, right? So that's one of the things we definitely need to know. Me teaching this so many years, I know that there's 3 big things that we need to know regarding scarcity. So for our notes, I'm going to write definition. So scarcity is, and I'll make bullet points here. Scarcity is defined as a basic condition, and you need to be writing this down in your notes. So it's a basic condition of having unlimited wants, but also having limited resources. All right, so that's the definition, right? And later on, I can go back and dress it up. I can write definition over here, however you want to do it. You can be creative with your notebook. But that's one of the big things that we have to know. So, scarcity, the basic condition of having unlimited wants, but also having limited resources. Now, for example, everybody is impacted by scarcity. I don't care who you are. You could be the richest person in the world. You can be the richest country in the world. It does not matter. Everybody's impacted by scarcity. I'll give you an example. Looking back at the definition, a basic condition of having unlimited wants, but also having limited resources. Me, I got a thing for Jordans, right? I would love to have all kinds of Jordans. I want the black ones. I want the black on black. I want the all white. I want the white and red. I want the all gray. I want the fuchsia and white. I want every different color. However, Jordans run about $280 a piece, right? So therefore, scarcity exists. I want all colors, but what's my hope? What's my dilemma? My dilemma is my resources. My pockets dictate that I can't have all colors. So therefore, This is the second bullet point that we're going to write down. Scarcity is the reason we have to make choices or decisions, because we can't have everything. We can't have it all, right? So therefore we're forced to make decisions. So let's write that down, second part of our notes. So I'm going to make a bullet point. Scarcity is the reason we have to make choices. All right. So scarcity is the reason that we're forced to make choices. When I say we, let me be specific. Because scarcity impacts all three parts of the world. So we're talking about, and I'm going to put this underneath, I'm going to say individuals. That's us, right? Individuals are impacted by scarcity. Businesses are impacted by scarcity, as well as governments or nations also impacted by scarcity, right? So far what I have the definition of scarcity, right? It's the basic condition of having unlimited wants. We want everything, businesses want everything, government wants everything, but we are faced with limited resources. We can't have everything. Scarcity, this is the second thing I have. Scarcity is the reason, due to scarcity, we have to make decisions or choices because we can't have everything. So therefore, even take the South Gwinnett shirt. When I was placing my order last year, Coach K had the basketball team doing a fundraiser, and she sent the book to me. I wanted everything. I wanted the sweatpants, I wanted the joggers, I wanted the t-shirt, I wanted the long sleeve shirt, I wanted the dress shirt, I wanted the coat, I wanted the hat, I wanted the scarf, I wanted everything South Gwinnett, right? However, I couldn't have everything. For one, I'm married with kids, so therefore got to provide food, got to pay bills, got to do this. So my money is limited. Even though I have unlimited wants, I want all the South Gwinnett gear. I can't have all the South Gwinnett gear, right? So I had to make a decision. So I got this shirt, I think a t-shirt and something else, right? But I wanted about 25 items, but so be it. Had to make a choice and they didn't make the cut. All right, so I told you there's three things to know about scarcity. We got the definition. We got that scarcity is the reason we are forced to make decisions. And the last thing, put a star next to this. I'm going to put a little star here. Scarcity is see, how do I want to word this? Scarcity, I'll tell you what, I'm going to scratch is out, and that's okay. Sometimes you make mistakes, you got to deal with it. I'm going to write for the last thing, scarcity impacts all individuals, firms, which means the same thing as businesses. So get to know that. When I say firms, I mean businesses. They're the same thing. Firms, businesses, used interchangeably. So individuals, firms, and countries. So basically everyone on this earth is impacted by scarcity. And I'm going to write that in here. Everybody is impacted by scarcity at some point. Even if you watch my video, the YouTube video dealing with scarcity. Floyd Mayweather made $750 million in one fight, fighting Conor McGregor. 3 hours worth of work, 2 hours worth of work. A lot of money. Even he's impacted by scarcity. And the reason why is, suppose that he made $700 million fighting in one night. What if he wanted to donate to University of Georgia? How much should he donate? $5 million? $100 million? How about $700 million? He's not going to donate everything that he made in one fight, because even he is impacted by scarcity, right? He has a lot of money, but he only has so much money. It's not never ending. So he's impacted by scarcity. Everything we do is dealing with scarcity. It forces us to make decisions, right? All right, so that's what my first page looks like, and I'll probably go through and add more stuff here whenever I feel like it. I go back and I can add another picture or something that deals with scarcity. Just remember, these are the 3 things you have to absolutely know regarding scarcity. Now we finished scarcity, AKS 17A, right? Now we're on to AKS 17B. So productive resources. Productive resources, like I said before, productive resources are also known as the factors of production, right? So I went ahead and I drew these lines here because there are 3 productive resources. So what I'm going to do, and you don't have to do it like this, you can do it different in your notebook. Just make sure you follow along. So there's 3 productive resources. So this column, I'm going to display one of the productive resources. In the middle, there's going to be a productive resource, and in this column over here is going to be a productive resource. So what I'm going to do is, and it doesn't matter which order you go in, I'm going to start right here with natural resources. So this column here, I'm going to write natural resources. All right, I'll use another color for the next resource. So natural resources is going to be this left column. In the middle, one of the other productive resources is human resources. And the final column, I'm going to use a different color. Whatever color this is. Looks blue, but it's kind of like teal fuchsia. I don't know what color that is, but it's a different color, so I'm going to use it. So we got natural resources, human resources, and over here I'm going to write capital resources. So these are the three productive resources. All right. All right, so I'll switch back to my red pen, and we're going to talk about natural resources first. All right, so natural resources. Sometimes natural resources are known as what's known as, I'm going to put this in quotation marks, known as the gift of nature. Gift of nature. Why the gift of nature? Because natural, we're talking about nature. We're talking about things that come from the earth that are non-man-made. They're already here. So we're talking about things like water. We're talking about diamonds. We're talking about dirt, land, grass, plants, animals, any resource that is non-man-made that's already here on earth. So I'm going to write that down. Non-man-made resources. Non-man-made resources. Now, so I'm going to use a different color here, probably use black. I'm going to give you some examples, just like I named. I would write some examples. Examples are water, plants, rocks, animals. Right? So those are just some examples of natural resources. Now, what I want us to do is I'm going to use this in everything I do. I try to make it to where, how do we use it in our real life, right? So let's use the example of a business. These are all three resources. Every business has to have these three resources to exist, right? So I'm going to draw the famous arches, right? The best restaurant on earth, McDonald's. Famous arches. And I'll probably go back and make that yellow. I don't know where my yellow pen is, but might have to get one. But McDonald's, right? Let's think about natural resources. What are things that McDonald's utilizes that are non-man-made? Things that come from the earth. Some things that come to mind, and I'm going to write some of these down. This is our McDonald's example. So I'm going to write McDonald's here. McDonald's, and examples of natural resources from McDonald's, assuming that they're using real meat. Remember, meat, at one point a cow had to go bye-bye, sad to say, but had to go bye-bye for us to eat that burger, right? That number 4 meal, that double quarter pounder with cheese meal. So therefore, some examples would be cows. They had to slaughter the cows to get the meat. Think about your actual burger. What comes on the burger? Tomatoes. That's a natural resource. So I'm going to write that down here. Tomato. Lettuce. Natural resource. Comes from ground, right? Lettuce. What else? What else can you think of? So we got cows, tomato, lettuce. They have water, right? At McDonald's to make the sodas. They also have dairy products, which also comes from cows. So I'm just gonna write dairy here. It's a natural resource. So therefore, those are natural resources used by McDonald's, right? So once again, to recap, natural resources, the gift of nature, non-man-made resources, also the actual land. Don't forget this. I'm gonna write this in red just so it'll stand out. Don't forget the actual land that McDonald's sits on, the actual dirt that it resides on, that it's located on. So all of that is under natural resources. Remember, non-man-made items comes from the earth. We're using McDonald's as an example, but you can use other businesses. Virtually every business uses natural resources. Natural resources is probably the hardest one of the three to come by because they're non-man-made. There's only so many resources. Remember scarcity. There's only so many cows. There's a lot of cows, but there's only so many of them. There's a lot of lettuce, but it's only so much lettuce. So we have to make decisions and choices based on that scarcity, right? So natural resources comes from earth, non-man-made. Let's go to the second one. Human resources. Human resources. So human resources, we're talking about, this is pretty simple, and I'm going to use blue for this one. We're talking about two groups of people. Mainly we're referring to workers, right? So we're talking about workers, people, and underneath I'm going to put people who perform labor. People who perform labor. All right, so with that being said, pretty self-explanatory. Human resources, we're talking about workers. Now there's another human resource that is vital that you know about. And I'm going to use red for this so it stands out. Don't forget about the entrepreneur. That's a person. That's a human being, right? So the entrepreneur. The entrepreneur is a human resource. And I'm going to add to this because this is the point I'm going to make a star here. Just so it stands out. Entrepreneur is the most important resource. the most important resource? Why? Why is the entrepreneur is somebody who comes up with a business, right? Who starts their own business. So why is an entrepreneur the most important person most important resource? Without the entrepreneur, the other resources don't happen. The natural resources and the capital resources, they don't exist without the entrepreneur. Remember, the entrepreneur has to come up with the vision of what the business looks like, and then they have to secure the resources. So let's go ahead and we'll come back to entrepreneurs and why it's the most important, but let's go to the last one so we can get finished with this. We have capital resources. Now, with capital resources, it's broken down into two categories. There's two types of capital resources. So I'm going to make a little split here for this one because there's two types of capital resources. Now, there's physical capital and there's human capital. Physical capital as well as human capital, right? All right, so physical capital and human capital. I'm going to start with physical capital. Physical capital, we're referring to tools and machinery and equipment. So tools, machines, equipment. Tools, machine, equipment. All right, so physical capital, we're talking about tools, machine, equipment. So sticking with our McDonald's example, what are some things that McDonald's purchases one time and they can use over and over and over again to help them make money? So we're talking about things like the soda machine, the cash registers, the deep fryer, right? The apple pie machine, the chairs in the lobby, the menu that's displayed to where we can look and see what items we want to buy. So those are all things those aren't free for McDonald's. They have to purchase those things, right? So therefore, we're talking about tools, machines, equipment that businesses buy one time that bring them back profit. So physical capital, tools, machine, equipment. Now, human capital. I'm going to use a different color for this. On the other side, human capital refers to improving one's knowledge or skills. Knowledge or skills. So, human capital, let's use the McDonald's example, right? Suppose McDonald's hires you. You interview, you hire with McDonald's. They say you got the job. You show up Monday. You show up Monday for your first day. What does McDonald's do? Are they going to just throw you out there and just say, hey, go work? They're not going to do that because you don't know what you're doing yet. You don't know the job. You have to learn skills and knowledge. So that's a part of human capital, right? You watching this video right now, you're improving your human capital. You going to school right now, you're improving your skills. You're learning stuff that's going to help you down the line become a better worker, that's going to become more in demand because you have more skills. So sticking with that example, first day at McDonald's, they might have you watch training videos on how to handle food, how to be safe at McDonald's, how to clock in for work because you don't know, it's your first day. So how to clock in for work, how to work the cash register. All of those are skills that you have to obtain. So those are examples of human capital, right? You obtaining new skills. So let's write some examples down. So we can write a training is an example of human capital. Job orientation is an example, right? Another example would be school, right? College. You learning new skills. School, college, tech school, military. All of those are examples of human capital, you improving your human capital. Watching my videos when you go to my YouTube channel, studying for a test, that's improving your human capital. Let's go back to physical capital. Remember, physical capital, we're talking about tools, equipment, machinery. So the drink machine, the deep fryer, the cash register, their uniforms that they wear, the tables in the lobby, the kiosk machine at McDonald's, the drink machine, the automatic drink machine, that's capital. So any tools, equipment that a business uses to help them bring a profit is physical capital, right? So I'm going to list those things. I'm going to let you go ahead and list those things under here for the examples of physical capital that we just talked about. Human resources, of course, we're talking about McDonald's. So the workers, the actual workers, whoever's back there cooking, whoever's ringing up the customer at the cash register, whoever's cleaning the lobby, whoever's cleaning the bathroom, whoever's taking the trash out, whoever's doing whatever task they need done, right? Laborers, people that are actually working. Now, don't forget, the most important resource is the entrepreneur, the person that made McDonald's, right? Who came up with this vision of having a restaurant called McDonald's that's going to be a fast food restaurant and just drive through and it's going to serve customers. They have to come up with how they're going to arrange all three resources: capital resources, human resources, as well as natural resources. They have to secure the contracts with killing the cows to make the burgers. They have to figure out, are we going to have workers, or are we going to have automatic machines? Are they going to have cash registers? Are they going to have kiosks where customers can check themselves out? The business minded person, the entrepreneur, has to come up with these resources, right? So this is our first day of content. So we did the first two standards, right? So we should have 17A, scarcity. Remember, you should have the definition. You should have the who's impacted by scarcity, which is everybody, every country, every business, every person. And scarcity is the reason that we make choices. We're forced to make decisions because we can't have everything, right? And the next thing that we just did, productive resources. There are three of them: natural resources, capital resources, as well as human resources. So hope this helped you out. This is our day 2 down. Don't get scared. This is not a hard class. Make sure you stay with me, stay focused, and we can get through this. All right, so don't forget, you still have some things that are due Sunday. You need to make sure that you turn in your video about me with those questions that I asked you about, as well as your make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel for these videos and more. And make sure you take your quiz. Remember, the quiz based on the syllabus as well as my personal bio. All right, so good job with day 2. Make sure you have this. You got plenty on the table. So remember, tomorrow's Friday, so we don't have a whole lot. I'll be accessible in terms of I'll be available for you via Zoom in case you have any problems, any questions. But those are the things you should be working on. So you should have your AKS 17A, 17B down. I know you probably don't have it down right now because you couldn't keep up, but this is just to show you how to do it. Remember, I'm giving you 2 options. You have this option. You can do a physical notebook with me, which I think is easier than the alternative, which is a virtual notebook. Or you can do it on PowerPoint, where you still have to use image, you have to be decorative, you have to look nice, the whole 9, right? So you choose which one you want to do, and I shall see you tomorrow. Good job.